And today we have Hank Martineau here. He is a retired but still working firefighter, and he's going to talk to you guys. He has some stuff that you guys can explore, and then hopefully we'll get a fire truck here right at the end that you guys can kind of explore. So please make this an interactive and fun experience for everybody. Ask questions. He's very open and honest, and yeah.
Already got a question.
How can someone be retired but still working?
So I work part-time here in the town of Wolfeboro. So when you retire, and I'll kind of explain it once we get to that retirement part of it. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Through the fire service, I've lost my hearing. So when you speak to me, you're going to have to speak a little loud, okay? Because when you get to my age, you forget to put your hearing aids in, okay? So I do wear hearing aids, all right? So as Jen said, I'm a retired firefighter. The agenda today is going to be, we're going to talk about what qualifications you need to become a full-time firefighter in the state of New Hampshire, your education options, your training options, and your career options. Again, I'm Hank Martineau. I retired 32 years Manchester Fire Department as a district chief. Moved up here to Wolfeboro a couple of years ago. Joined the call force here in Wolfeboro as a part-time training officer. Worked together with the training lieutenant to plan department-wide training for the town of Wolfeboro. I also am a senior staff instructor at the State Fire Academy. I've been teaching there for over 25 years. I also teach in the Manchester School of Technology Fire Science program. What we're going to talk about today is, what does it take? How many of you are sincerely interested in the fire service as a career? 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we're going to talk about your different options as far as qualifications go, training, and education. So most fire departments in the state require you, even if you're just part-time, to have at least your level 1 certification and your EMT basic certification as well. Most of your smaller departments, smaller communities in the state will actually sponsor you. So for instance, if you join the Wolfeboro call force, now you said you're a volunteer, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did your department provide you with gear?
Yes.
Did your department, will they provide you with, will they pay for your training?
Yes.
Okay. Same thing with Wolfeboro. If you became a call firefighter in Wolfeboro, we would provide you with all of the gear that you need, and then they would sponsor you to get your training at the State Fire Academy or one of the satellite programs around the state. As a volunteer or a call member, you're required to attend training, okay? And it's typically 2 to 3 times a month for a couple hours a night, and then occasionally on a Saturday it's a full day training exercise, okay? Depending on the topic. Career, okay, if you want to be, so you want to be in the fire service, full-time?
Correct.
Okay, yourself? Would you like to be a full-time firefighter in the state of New Hampshire?
I don't know yet.
You don't know yet. How about you?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure. Okay, so this is what you have to do, okay? So become a full-time career firefighter, you have to have your level 2 certification, your EMT basic and or your advanced or paramedic. Now, it's become very competitive over the years. So most full-time departments want you to be at least an EMT advanced. Okay? The New Hampshire Group 2 retirement system requires you to work 25 years of service, and at age 52 and a half, you can retire at half pay. So I don't know how many of you guys work? Okay, could you survive on half of what you make? Probably not, right? So typically most fire departments, most full-time firefighters will stay 30 plus years in order to, because every year you stay after 20 years or 25 years now, you get an increase in the percentage of your retirement. Okay, so you can retire up to 100% depending on how long you stay in the fire service. Most departments in the state, we have a 1-year probationary period where they can basically fire you for any infraction that you incur. Okay? I'll be honest with you, this is not just a job, okay? It's a career. And it's unlike any other career because you basically become a family with the people that you work with. Because you're gonna spend as much, if not more time with your fellow firefighters than you do with your own family. Because you work 24-hour shifts, you're there for 3 meals a day, and you stay overnight. So you're away from your family for 24 hours at a time. So it's not for everybody, and you have to actually have a family and a spouse, okay, that's okay with you being away for 24 hours. It's very difficult for your family as well. It's physically demanding, it's emotionally demanding, because you're going to see a lot of things that most people will never see. And you're going to be taking care of people in your community at their worst time, okay, in their time of need. When I say physically demanding, you're going to incur all kinds of stress, right? Physical stress, mental stress, heat stress. The gear here that you have in front of you, along with some of the hand tools you'll carry into the building, altogether weighs about 75 pounds. Okay, so think about carrying a backpack, and most of you probably do with your books, with 75 extra pounds on you and having to do some physical activity in a building. Okay, so it does require you to be physically fit in order to become a firefighter. And we'll talk about what the requirements are here in a few minutes. And it also takes a toll on your body over time. Okay, so for myself, speaking from my experience, I have a fake knee in this side. I got 5 anchors holding this shoulder together, 3 in this shoulder and 2 in this elbow. And that's all over abusing my body for all these years as a firefighter. So it is. I'm sorry?
How are you alive?
How am I alive?
Yeah, no offense. But
God's grace, you know, thank God for spare parts, right? Fortunately today, with the advances in medicine, they can replace your body parts, your joints, right?
yeah.
Okay, so here's your options, okay, to get your training and your education. Personally, I would recommend the top one, okay? It's recruit school, okay? It's a full-time school at the State Fire Academy. You're there for 8.5 weeks. You have an option of staying in the dorms there. They have dormitories there, so you can stay there overnight, which is recommended because you become a cohesive group, right? You become dependent upon each other, you get close to each other, and you learn from each other. You study together. Okay, so you'll get your Fire 1 and your Fire 2 certification all in one shot in 8.5 weeks, full time. That's what I would recommend you do if you're serious about becoming a full-time firefighter in the state of New Hampshire. Other options are, say you work full-time and you can't go there full-time during the day. At the Fire Academy, they have a Fire 1 and a Fire 2 program. They're both 2 nights a week plus Saturdays. For Fire 1, it's 4.5 months, and for Fire 2, it's 1 month. Okay, so you're going to go 5.5 months at night, part-time, basically 3 days a week, to the Fire Academy. They're not only given, these classes are not only given just in Concord, but we have satellite programs all around the state. So the Lakes region, different departments will sponsor either level 1 or level 2 programs, so you may not have to travel all the way to Concord to find one of those programs. If you go on the State Fire Academy website, it'll list all the classes that are ongoing and the classes that are coming up. So you can plan ahead, right? Laconia Regional Community College has a fire science degree program, a 2-year program, okay? If I didn't do the recruit school part of it and I wanted to get my associate's degree in fire science, That's another great option. They also, along with NHTI in Concord, have a paramedic medicine program. So you can go 2 years, or you could be a dual major, try to do it all in 2 years. You can go 2 years, get your fire science degree, your associates, and then go 2 more years and get your paramedic. I will tell you right now, if you have your fire science degree or you get your Fire 2 certification, you're a paramedic, you will get hired anywhere in the state. Any full-time department will hire you. Because there's openings everywhere in the state right now as we sit here. New England Training Academy also offers, for those of you that are just interested in the EMS side of things, EMT B, A, and P programs. Great Brook Academy in Pembroke also, same thing. And Granite State EMS out of Concord. So there's several options on the EMS side of the house for you to get your certifications. You will have to pass your National Registry test for either your basic, advanced, or paramedic, which will probably be the most difficult test you'll ever take in your life, because you're taking all of that medical training and having to regurgitate that onto one test. And you get more than one shot. Not everybody passes the first time. As a matter of fact, most people do not pass their first time. It's a very difficult test. But once you're certified for the rest of your life. And every 2 years, you take a recertification class where you get continuing ed education over those 2 years, and you get recertified every 2 years with the National Registry. Any questions on this? Anybody?
What if you don't take the 2-year certification?
Then you have to take the whole course over again,
Okay.
which is pretty
Well, that's
intense.
why
It's
I
pretty
was-
intensive. So you really don't want it to lapse once you get it.
Right.
Because it's hard to get it back again. You have to go through the whole class again.
What's involved in the recertification?
So basically, most departments provide continuing education, both online and in person, and you record that with the National Registry. So part of my job as the part-time training officer for Wolfeboro is I record with the National Registry every EMS class that we do as a group. So over a 2-year period, you have to meet all the criteria in order to be recertified.
It's much like being a teacher.
Exactly, exactly. Or nurse or anything else. Like nurses have to have ACLS training every year, right, to keep their certification. Any other questions? No? Not a very talkative group, are you? Okay. Just so you know, 80% of the fire departments in the state of New Hampshire are volunteer and call. Right? Which means only 20% are career full-time departments. So most of your larger communities, Manchester, Nashua, Concord, Dover, Portsmouth, all your larger communities have full-time career fire departments. Most of your smaller communities is a very rural state, right? So most of your rural departments are volunteer and call. So volunteer, what does that mean?
Volunteer.
Do you get paid? Do you get paid?
I do not, no.
Okay.
Or you get paid very little.
So he's straight volunteer. Some volunteer departments offer a stipend, okay, of so much a month to be on the volunteer department. Wolfeboro is a combination career call department. So being a call member, what that means is if you respond to a call, you get paid for the hours that you are there. If you come to Wolfeboro Fire for a training night, you get paid for the 2 hours that you're there. If you go to a full day training exercise on a Saturday, you get paid for 8 hours. You understand? That's the difference between a volunteer and a call. So typically, you have a pager?
We do, yeah.
Okay, so volunteers or call departments carry pagers, or for myself, I have an app on my phone. So every time Wolfeboro Fire goes out on a call, I get an alarm on my phone, and I look at it, and if it's something that I think they need my help with, I can respond. And if I do respond, I get paid for that time. You understand? That's the difference.
Is there an hourly rate for that?
There is an hourly rate depending on your experience. So I'm not sure what the call department here paid, but I want to say it's around $12 an hour, something like that.
$4 an hour?
12.
Oh, 12.
$12 an hour, yeah.
$12 an hour, you know.
Yeah, no, $12 an hour. But it also increases over time and whatever experience you have, right?
Yep.
Again, it's not a lot of money for running into a burning building, okay? Or having to respond to the EMS side of the house and being involved in some pretty extensive EMS calls, okay? But most people don't understand that we don't just go to fires, we don't just go to EMS calls, right? We also do hazardous materials mitigation, right? So if there's a spill in the waterway, we mitigate that issue. If there's a spill in the street, is there a spill in your house, your oil tank ruptures in your basement, we help take care of that. If there's a propane leak at your house, we help take care of that. Here, being in the Lakes region, we respond on the water, especially in the summertime. We have a water rescue team, we have a dive team, we have a fireboat. So we respond out to the islands for EMS calls, for fires, for brush fires. So there's an array of responses that we deal with as firefighters, especially in the Lakes region.
Do you have any special programs to work with local businesses who might be employing firefighters who are on call?
Most businesses will be very, very responsive to letting their people go if there's a call in their community. Especially small communities like this, they're very community-based, right? I was speaking to Jen earlier, and what I'd like to try to do in the near future is to try to create a public-private partnership with some of the businesses in town and develop a scholarship program so that some of you that may be interested in going, for instance, to the State Fire Academy to recruit school, help pay for that cost out of that scholarship fund. So that's something I'll be working on in the next year or so, trying to get some community businesses involved and try to get the town involved to donate some money into the scholarship program.
That would be really smart.
What about forest fire certifications?
Yep, so that's part of your level 1. So part of your level 1 curriculum, you're going to get forest fire training, and you'll get certified in that, okay? That's another part of what we do, right? Any other questions about that?
Can you touch base, just, I know we talked about it a little, but like, a lot of times too, like people that are part-time have another career, like they're in construction, or they're in plumbing, or they own their own company. So if there is a call, they're their own boss, so they're able to get out there and kind of, you know, take a call if need be, until they become full-time or whatever else.
Okay, so many departments in the state right now have openings, okay? It's cyclical, right? So for instance, since I left 2 years ago in Manchester, they've hired 40 firefighters because a lot of the people that I came on the job with back in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, we all retired at the same time, creating a big hole to fill. So they have 40 brand new firefighters that have less than 2 years on the job in the city of Manchester. Okay, so a lot of experience went out the door, but it created a lot of opportunity. Same thing's happening all over the state right now. So now's a good time if you're serious about getting into the fire service to get your training, and get your education, and get your certifications and start applying to fire departments around the state if you're serious about making this a career. Again, we are a combination career call department here in Wolfeboro. We do pay for your training, we do provide your equipment. We are actively seeking call members on the Wolfeboro Fire Department. So if you're interested, my email will be on the last slide. You can write it down and shoot me an email, and you can come down and visit us and see if it's something that you might be interested in doing, being a call member. Again, 2 to 3 nights monthly, and then training includes firefighting and EMS training. And we're paid to respond to calls and training. Anybody have any questions? Okay, so one other thing that was on the slide and I didn't mention it. Okay.
Actually, quick question. A lot of these students are from different towns.
Yep.
Like, do you have to be from Wolfeboro to be
Nope.
on call for Wolfeboro?
No, we have people on in Wolfeboro that live in Tufton Borough or in the general area. Most departments require you to live within a certain radius of the town that you're a call member in, for obvious reasons, right? If we don't want you living in Hampton if you're going to be responding to a call in Wolfeboro, right? So reasonable amount of time for response. One of the other things that I had on the slide that I just want to mention is one of the other requirements to be a full-time career firefighter in the state of New Hampshire is you have to pass what's called a candidate physical ability test. Okay, it's a requirement to get into the Group 2 retirement system. That test, you can look it up online anytime you want, and it'll show you all the different things that you have to be proficient at. There's 8 stations, and you have to get through all 8 stations in 10 minutes and 20 seconds. Each station mimics a fireground movement. So you have to do 3 minutes and 20 seconds on a step mill. Everybody know what a step mill is? It's like a rotating staircase with 75 pounds of weight on your body. They put a 50-pound vest on you, 25 pounds of weight on your shoulders, and you walk on this step mill at 60 steps a minute for 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Okay, that honestly is the toughest part of the test. Then there's a hose drag, there's an equipment carry, there's a ladder raise, an extension, there's a claustrophobia test where you have to crawl through a U-shaped tunnel in the dark, and there's obstacles inside, and you got to crawl over underneath and get to the other side, come out the other side. There's a dummy drag. You have to drag a 165-pound dummy 75 feet. Okay, and then the last event is the ceiling breach and pull, where they have a machine that simulates putting a pike pole through a ceiling and pulling down. Okay, and you have to do all of those 8 stations in 10 minutes and 20 seconds. If you pass that, that is a requirement, so you're eligible. I will tell you right now, at the CPAT, full-time departments all over the state, they've finally got smart, and they set up a recruitment center. So when you're done and you pass, departments from all over the state are sitting there right there. Their chiefs, the chief officers and assistant chiefs are there. And a lot of these students that pass that and have their level 2 certification, their EMT already, they get a conditional job offer on the spot. Meaning that if you pass your physical, your medical physical, and your background check, you're probably going to get hired.
How did you lose your knee?
I'm sorry?
How did you lose your knee?
How did I lose? Just wear and tear. It just wore out. So I had to get it replaced.
And also, how does any person actually manage to carry all that? I feel like that would be impossible.
It's not impossible. Trust me. Yep, 75 pounds, but it is. You guys, when we're done, you can pick it up. You can feel what it weighs like. Fire truck's right out back here. We're going to go out here in a few minutes and walk around the fire truck, take a look, see what's inside. For those of you that are interested in more information about the Wolfeboro Call Department, that's my email at Wolfeboro. You guys want to jot that down if you're interested in becoming a call member here in Wolfeboro. Any other questions?
Where did you get your training?
Excuse me?
Where did you get your training?
New Hampshire Fire Academy.
Okay.
Yep. So in 1988, when I got hired, we didn't have to have all this training in order to be hired.
Right.
They hired you off the street, and they provided a 14-week recruit school. So we went to the State Fire Academy for 14 weeks. We got our, back then, level 1 career, level 2 EMTB, all in 14 weeks. So it's pretty condensed, pretty intensive training. And then the rest of it was on-the-job training.
Right.
The guys with experience on the line taught you whatever else you needed to know. Good.
Am I able to pick up that
Yeah.
jacket?
You guys can come on up, take a look at the stuff I got on the floor here.
Yep.
And then we'll head outside and walk around the fire truck.
Thank you.